Donald Trump has stated emphatically that he loves all Mexicans and has no problem with the Mexican people. So then, let's see how he does standing right on the line with Mexico staring him in the face. There's a new face to a Kentucky senator who would be president. That of a man unafraid to flex his political muscle. Pick up a chainsaw, let the dastardly tax code face his wrath. And here's a good idea on how to make America smarter. Start teaching kids more than how to power up a pad in grade school. Academy Award-winning actor Richard Dreyfuss joins us with his method. And in telling it like it is, a flag flap of a different kind and a few choice words for the president. Buckle up. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hard Line for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2015.
The country is full of good and decent people, and there is a sense of common purpose at the neighborhood level and in the school and in the workplace. That dissipates the further up it goes because of all the money and because all the filters and all the polarizing that takes place in terms of how our politics are shaped. But the only way to prevent that is by people getting involved. And it doesn't take that much.
The administration is, in fact, in the final stages of drafting a plan to safely and responsibly the prison at Guantanamo Bay and to present that plan to Congress.
We've reached a decision point. Congress can either shape a different benefit profile for veterans or give VA the flexibility and money for legislated entitlements. My worst nightmare is a veteran going without care because I have the money in the wrong pocket.
Donald Trump, the current GOP frontrunner, will travel to the Texas-Mexico border tomorrow. The presidential candidate will travel to the city of Laredo, Texas. Trump tweeted this picture in the last hour showing him with former Texas Governor Rick Perry. Trump tweeting this about the former governor of Texas, quote, "In my office last cycle, playing nice and begging for my support and money. Hypocrite."
Donald Trump is about to venture into the belly of the immigration beast, taking his new political reality show to the Texas-Mexico border on Thursday, where there is certain to be a large gathering of people tired of being drilled by illegal immigration and those who still have their Donald Trump piñata handy for his insensitive comments about Mexicans. Cowboy boots for everybody. Let's just go ahead and saddle up. We're joined by the former Deputy Assistant to Vice President Dick Cheney and Daily Beast contributor Ron Christie and veteran White House reporter who runs the only 24/7 independent website about what happens inside that building, WhiteHouseDossier.com, Keith Koffler. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. And Ron, I'm going to come right to you on this. Let's see. He goes after Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. He's going after Rick Perry in Texas. What's next? Florida for Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio. He's getting it right. He's getting people's attentions, Ron.
Well, good evening, Ed. I think that's it. I think this is all about Donald Trump. It's all about drawing attention to himself. And he doesn't seem to really present that many concrete plans of how he would lead the country forward. You know, I tire of candidates like Mr. Trump, and I tire of the Republican establishment who won't really confront this individual for who he is. He's an individual who has not only donated to the Hillary Clinton campaign in the previous cycle, he's donated to the Clinton Foundation. If he wants to run for president, he ought to run for president as a Democrat. He's not a true Republican, and I don't think he really has meaningful solutions for the problems that vex us.
Keith, you wrote an article entitled Donald Trump and the Angry GOP. Let's face it, they are angry. But maybe Ron's got something here. People need to be angrier about what he's going to do instead of the sideshow.
Yes, they do. And eventually that may happen. But I think what's going on in the short term is that he is expressing things that people are concerned about and feel they can't express on their own, as the other candidates are not expressing as directly. For example, on immigration. So people think that maybe there's too much immigration, too much illegal immigration. You do that, you get shot down as someone who doesn't like Hispanics. Gay marriage. You think, well, maybe gay marriage, the country's not ready for it, or maybe it's not a great idea. You're a homophobe. What they see in Donald Trump is someone that I agree, he's a demagogue and he has no plan and so forth. But he is someone who will verbalize these things, who is not afraid of being called a racist for saying things about immigration, and that expresses some of the fears of conservatives, particularly in this country, who think that their country is being pulled out from underneath them.
All right, Keith, so if he gets away with all that, and you're exactly right, how does he then remain the Teflon Don? Because, as you said, nothing sticks. Sooner or later, something's going to, but if he doesn't care, then what difference does it make? He can go and do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants.
Yeah. Well, eventually you have to hope that people will realize what this man is. A man, as Ron said, without a plan and without any kind of real agenda. And eventually he will say things that are stupid enough that will get him in trouble. But in the meantime, listen, he does have a plan, and that's to get publicity for Donald Trump. Going to the border is a brilliant idea. No, whatever any candidate says tomorrow will not be heard because Donald Trump is going to be on the Mexican border soaking up all the media coverage. It's brilliant. It probably won't last, but for now, he's really riding it.
Ron, I'll tell you, Keith's got a great point because we always hear from people on the Republican side, when are you going to the border? Democrats, when are you going to the border? Hey, look, Donald Trump is going to the border. So even if he has protesters there and you know that they're going to show up, it won't make any difference to him. He's doing things that the other candidates don't want to do or can't do. That sets him apart right away.
It really does set him apart, Ed, and I think Keith is 100% spot on in his commentary here. Look, what are we going to be talking about at this time tomorrow? Are we going to be talking about what some of the other candidates have said or done? No. Are we going to be talking about what President Obama's done? Probably not. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump. If it's one thing that he knows how to do, and Keith is exactly right, he knows how to brilliantly position himself to garner the maximum amount of coverage. I can't think of a better idea of having the pack of the media follow him around other than doing what he's doing right now. Eventually, however, I think the other candidates are going to have to decide amongst themselves. We are looking bad as a party. We are looking bad as a brand. And if this guy continues to stay in the race and continues to suck up all the oxygen in the room, my goodness, that could really have bad implications, not only for the GOP in the short term, but of course for the Democrats' ability to retain the White House in 2016.
Ron, let's look at this at another side here. Lindsey Graham puts out an hysterical video with his cell phone, crushing it, destroying it, burning it, doing whatever that he wants with it. So look at it this way. Lindsey Graham wasn't getting a tremendous amount of attention before Donald Trump went after him. Now, Lindsey Graham is on the lips of everybody around the country. He's almost stealing a page from Donald Trump's book, wouldn't you say?
Well, I don't know, Ed. I mean, if you look at what Lindsey Graham did, and I think it was clever and I think it was pretty funny, but what are we talking about? We're talking about Lindsey Graham as it relates to Donald Trump.
But he needs to get some sort of attention, though. Isn't that what we're talking about here? At least you got to break through the Trump NATO, if you will, and get somebody to talk about you one way or another.
Ed, I think if it's Lindsey Graham or other candidates who are using Donald Trump to get attention for themselves, boy, that says a whole lot about them and their lack of vision and a plan, as opposed to, well, I'm going to ride the coattails and see where he can take me.
Keith, I heard you say something there. Go ahead.
Well, I agree entirely. I mean, they're basically riding the coattails of Donald Trump with that. And if you notice, the people that initially, at least, had been strongest in standing up to Donald Trump, like Graham or now Rick Perry, are the people who are furthest behind in the polls with nothing to lose. They need a little PR, and they're kind of trying to join in Trump's party. But like Ron says, it's Trump's party, not theirs.
I got to say, putting a cell phone in a blender is something I think we've all wanted to do at one time or another. Hey, Ron, I've only got about 60 seconds left. I want to get a quick comment from you. You wrote an article recently that talked about your case for President John Kasich. Seriously? You think he can break through?
I do. I had the opportunity to join him out for his presidential announcement in Columbus, Ohio yesterday, and I think what the American voters are looking for, and I think this is why Trump is doing well in the polls, they're looking for authenticity. They are looking for someone who doesn't do the usual poll-driven, poll-tested, one-size-fits-all Washington solution, and I think that's what we found from a lot of the candidates who are running on the GOP side. Yes, John Kasich expanded Medicaid in Ohio, and he's catching flack for it, but I can't think of another candidate up there on the stage who not only got 26% of the black vote, he carried 86 out of 88 counties in Ohio. He turned a multi-billion-dollar deficit into a multi-billion-dollar rainy day fund. I think those are the sort of things that voters are looking for, and that's a pretty formidable record that not many, if any of those folks on the stage beside him will be able to match.
Keith, 15 seconds. Can John Kasich break through that Washington insider?
I think it's possible. He has some fire in the belly, and that's kind of what people are looking for with Trump. You know, when Trump implodes, people like Kasich or Christie, who aren't afraid to say what they think, they may be able to fill the space left by Trump.
I'm liking it a little, telling it like it is. Oh, gee, that's right. That's my commentary at the end of the show. We'll wait to get to that later. Ron, Christie, Keith Koffler, thanks so much for joining us, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. We'll do it again. Let's remind everybody now, we've been talking about Donald Trump a long time here. Hey, listen from Donald himself. Read about Donald himself. Time to get tough, making America #1 again. A free book offer. Go to newsmax.com/TrumpBook and learn from the man and hear what his plan is. Read what his plan is. Then we'll talk about it here. Stay with us. The Hard Line will continue.